Chapter 1: The Breaking Point. Rain hammered the resort roof like a furious heartbeat, loud, relentless, and impossible to ignore. Rory stood in the bathroom, staring at the pregnancy test she had taken only because her stomach had been twisting for days, and her instincts whispered that something had changed. 2 pink lines. 2. Her breath caught. A child. A life. Her child. Something warm fluttered inside her chest, until a voice sliced through the moment. Martin's voice. Smooth. Careless. Far too happy for a man who had acted distant for weeks. She stepped closer to the balcony door where he stood talking on his phone, rain streaking behind him like a backdrop for a disaster she was about to witness firsthand. "No, babe," he said with a low chuckle. "I told you, it's nothing serious with her." Rory froze. Her heart didn't break quietly, it shattered with a soundless, violent collapse that shook every part of her. The shock hit first, cold and numbing. Then came the heat, rage, humiliation, disbelief, rushing in so fast she couldn't breathe. She stepped back, gripping the doorframe. This can't be happening. Not like this. Not today. But the truth didn't care what day it was. The moment Martin saw her, he flinched, immediately pulling the phone away from his ear. His smile wavered but didn't fall apart completely, which somehow hurt more. "Rory, hey, listen. I can explain." She held up the test with trembling fingers. "Explain what?" "That you were planning a future with me while secretly building another one with someone else?" He dragged a hand through his wet hair, eyes darting anywhere but her face. "It's complicated. You weren't supposed to hear that." Her laugh came cracked and bitter. "So I was supposed to stay blind? Stay quiet? Pretend you loved me while you—" "Rory, calm down. Don't you dare tell me to calm down." Lightning flashed, illuminating his expression, the guilt, the annoyance, the complete lack of remorse. And in that second, Rory knew staying would destroy her. She packed without thinking. Survival mode kicked in. She grabbed a backpack, stuffed clothes into it, added her wallet, water bottle, and the last shred of sanity she had left. Martin followed her through the suite. "You're overreacting." "It's not what it sounded like." She didn't look back. "Then what is it, Martin?" "Because to me it sounds like betrayal." The storm outside was violent, but it was nothing compared to the storm inside her. She pushed through the glass doors and stepped straight into the rain. It slapped against her skin, icy and sharp, but cleansing, like the world was trying to wash away everything she had just learned. She ran. Down the resort stairs. Across the empty pathways. Past tourists taking shelter. And all the while she felt the ache in her chest spreading until it filled her lungs. By the time she reached the marina, the waves were crashing hard against the docks. Wind roared in her ears, whipping her hair into her face. She scanned the boats, desperate for somewhere, anywhere, else to be. Then she saw it. A sturdy white vessel, engine off, tied loosely to the pier. Not fancy, not polished, just dependable looking. A way out. Her hands shook as she untied the ropes. And that was when she felt it. A presence. She turned sharply. The lightning illuminated a shadow near the tree line. 2 golden eyes reflected back at her, steady, focused, almost aware. A chill crept through her spine. She blinked. And the eyes vanished. But the fear stayed. Rory climbed onto the boat anyway. She didn't know whose it was. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she couldn't stay. Not here. Not with a future that had crumbled in her hands. She pushed the throttle. The boat lurched forward, cutting through the dark water. And Rory left everything, love, betrayal, safety, behind her. Chapter 2: The Wrong Boat, the Wrong Man. The boat sliced through the storm like a stubborn animal refusing to be tamed. Rory gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles paled. Wind stung her eyes and water drenched her clothes, but adrenaline kept her moving. She didn't know where she was going. She didn't know how long she could even steer the thing. She only knew she needed distance. The engine roared. Then a voice behind her nearly made her jump into the ocean. "What do you think you're doing on my boat?" The voice was deep. Rough. Accusing. Rory spun so fast she slipped, catching herself on the railing. A man stood at the bottom of the cabin stairs, tall despite the slight forward angle of the rocking vessel. His hair was dark and dripping from rain, his jaw sharp, his expression colder than the storm. He was intimidating. But he looked more exhausted than dangerous. Rory swallowed. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was, I thought it was empty." "You think stealing a boat is okay as long as the owner isn't looking?" Heat flushed her face. "I wasn't stealing it. I was escaping." He blinked, rain running down his cheek. "Escaping? From what? The weather report?" Her throat tightened. "From someone who hurt me." He stared at her a long moment, the kind of stare that made her want to shrink into herself but also, strangely, made her feel the tiniest bit less alone. Then he exhaled harshly. "You picked the worst possible time to run away, lady. This storm is about to get bad. It already is bad. And it's going to get worse. Move." Rory hesitated. "Move where?" "Anywhere that's not the wheel." He pushed past her, taking control of the boat with a steady hand. He moved like someone familiar with storms, like someone who had ridden worse ones alone. "Sit down," he ordered. "I'd rather stand." "Suit yourself. If you fall overboard, I'm not turning around." Rory stiffened, lifting her chin. "Threatening me doesn't help." "Not a threat. A fact." She stared at him, trying to understand this man she had accidentally thrown herself into the ocean with. He was curt, yes. But also deeply focused. Determined. Something about him felt guarded. As he adjusted the throttle, lightning illuminated his profile, the strong jaw, the scar cutting faintly across his brow, the surprisingly soft shape of his mouth. He didn't look like someone who lived an easy life. "What's your name?" she asked, shouting over the wind. He didn't glance at her. "Sawyer." She wrapped her arms around herself. "I'm Rory." "I didn't ask." Her mouth fell open. "You're unbelievable. And you're reckless." The boat lurched violently. Rory yelped, grabbing the wall. Sawyer muttered a curse. "Of all nights to take my boat." She bit her lip, her voice cracking. "Look, I didn't mean to ruin your evening. I didn't mean to involve you at all. I needed to get away." Something in her voice must have broken through the walls around him. He glanced at her then, really looked at her. The soaked hair, the shaking hands, the red-rimmed eyes. "You're crying," he said quietly. She wiped her cheeks. "No, it's just the rain." He didn't challenge the lie. But before he could say anything else, thunder exploded above them like a physical blow. The waves surged. The boat tilted dangerously. Sawyer cursed. "Hold on to something." Rory braced herself. Then, a massive wave slammed into the side of the vessel. The boat spun. Rory screamed. The world flipped into darkness. And everything went silent. Chapter 3, Wrecked. Rory woke to the sound of gulls. Soft, echoing cries drifting through her consciousness like distant memories. A dull ache pulsed behind her eyes. Her body felt heavy, scratched, sore. Sand. There was sand beneath her fingers. She forced her eyes open. A bright sky, too bright, burned her vision. The storm was gone. The world was calm. Quiet. Hot. Her breath hitched as she pushed herself upright. She was on a beach. A real, isolated, nowhere in sight beach. Memory slammed into her. The storm. Sawyer yelling. A wave swallowing the boat. Darkness. Her heart raced. Sawyer. She scrambled to her feet, wobbling. Sawyer? Sawyer. Her voice carried across the shore but faded into the vast emptiness. Panic clawed at her chest. She ran clumsily along the coastline, scanning the sand, the water, the tree line. Sawyer. Please. Then she tripped over something. Not something. Someone. She gasped and fell to her knees beside him. Sawyer lay sprawled on the sand, face half buried, shirt torn, bruises forming across his shoulder. His chest rose and fell, faint but steady. Relief buckled her. Sawyer, oh thank God, Sawyer. She shook his arm gently. Hey. Wake up. Please wake up. A groan escaped him. His eyes opened slowly, squinting at the sunlight. You have a very annoying voice. She choked out a laugh, half relief, half hysteria. You're alive. Barely, he muttered, wincing as he sat up. What happened? The storm. The boat capsized. Yeah. No kidding. He scanned the shoreline. Any sign of the boat? Rory shook her head. Nothing. He cursed under his breath. The wind brushed softly against them. The ocean glittered, calm and deceptive, like it hadn't tried to kill them the night before. Sawyer dragged a hand through his soaked hair. All right. We're stranded. Rory swallowed. Where are we? No idea. But it's not inhabited. I can tell you that. Her stomach twisted. She pressed a hand to it instinctively, not because of hunger, but because she remembered the test she had taken hours before everything fell apart. She hadn't told Sawyer. She didn't plan to. Not yet. He struggled to stand. Rory reached out automatically. Here, let me help. I'm fine, he said sharply, swatting her hand away. She pulled back, stung. I'm just trying to be decent. I don't need a stranger's help. Well, I didn't need to be shipwrecked with a rude man, but here we are. They stared at each other. Then Sawyer sighed, the fight leaving him. Look, sorry. I'm just processing. We both are. He nodded, his jaw tightening. First thing we need is shelter. Second is fresh water. Rory looked at the dense line of trees inland. The forest looked alive, wild, unwelcoming, mysterious. And then she felt it again. A presence. Not Sawyer. Not a bird. Something watching from between the trees. Her breath caught. She whispered, Sawyer, do you feel like we're being watched? He followed her gaze. Probably just wildlife. But his posture stiffened. He was lying. He felt it too. And deep in the shadows of the forest, something moved. Silent. Large. Waiting. Chapter 4, The Eyes in the Trees. Rory followed Sawyer cautiously as they made their way toward the forest edge. Sunlight filtered through the tree canopy in fractured beams, casting shifting shadows across the ground. Every rustle, every snap of a twig made her flinch. Sawyer noticed. Relax. We survived the ocean. We can survive some trees. It's not the trees I'm worried about, she whispered. A low sound echoed from deeper within the woods. Not quite a growl. Not quite anything she'd heard before. Her skin prickled. Sawyer paused. Stay close. She already was. The forest felt thick with tension, alive, aware, watching. They found a small clearing where the trees arched overhead like a natural shelter. Sawyer set down a piece of driftwood he had found. We can make a temporary camp here. Rory tried to breathe normally. But then, from the corner of her eye, she saw movement. Not human movement. Fluid. Quiet. Predatory. She turned sharply. And there, partially hidden between two trees, stood a wolf. A massive wolf. His fur was a deep ash gray, streaked with darker shades. His eyes. Golden. The same eyes she had seen at the marina. Burning with intelligence. Focused on her. Rory's breath froze in her throat. Sawyer, she whispered without looking away. Don't make any sudden movements. He turned slowly, and froze as well. You've got to be kidding me. The wolf stepped forward, graceful and silent. He wasn't snarling. He wasn't baring his teeth. He was simply watching her, like he knew her. Rory whispered, "It's the same one. From the dock." The eyes. Sawyer positioned himself slightly in front of her. Back up. Slowly. But Rory didn't move. The wolf's gaze locked with hers. Something in her chest fluttered, fear, yes, but also something strange she couldn't name. Then. The wolf turned. Not hurried. Not afraid. He simply walked back into the forest as though he had been waiting for her, and was now satisfied. Sawyer exhaled shakily. That was not normal behavior. No, Rory whispered. It wasn't. He didn't attack. He didn't even look aggressive. He looked curious. Sawyer looked at her sharply. And how would you know what a wolf looks like when it's curious? I don't know. It's just what it felt like. Sawyer rubbed his face. Great. So we're stranded on an island with a giant wolf that likes watching people. Rory's eyes lingered on the trees. On the place where the golden eyes had disappeared. Something about that wolf tugged at her. Something familiar and impossible all at once. She didn't know why. She didn't know how. But she had the unsettling feeling. That he wasn't just an animal. That he was connected to her in some way she wasn't ready to understand. Chapter 5, Forced Cooperation. Sawyer began gathering branches and stones, clearing the ground for a fire pit. Rory helped, though her movements were distracted, her mind drifting back to the wolf. Every few minutes she scanned the trees, expecting the eyes to return. Sawyer noticed. He's gone. You don't know that. He smirked humorlessly. I'd hear him. How? Wolves are silent. Exactly. Rory frowned. That doesn't make sense. Sawyer ignored that, but the shadows beneath his eyes hinted he wasn't as calm as he pretended. They spent the next hour building a rough shelter using fallen branches, palm leaves, and driftwood. Rory's clothes clung to her, damp and itchy. Her throat was parched. We need water, she murmured. Sawyer pointed toward a faint trail leading deeper into the forest. If we follow the slope downward, we might find a stream. Her stomach clenched. Into the forest? You saw the coastline. There's nothing but sand and rocks. Water will be inland. She swallowed her fear. Fine. But we go together. Sawyer lifted a brow. You planning to ditch me? She glared. You saved my life. I'm not ditching you. He looked away quickly, almost embarrassed. They walked through the forest, the air thick with humidity. Leaves brushed their arms. Birds called overhead. But underneath the normal sounds was something else, a quiet awareness that made the hair on Rory's neck rise. Sawyer stopped suddenly. Hear that? She froze. What? A stream. Sure enough, the faint, steady trickle of flowing water echoed nearby. They followed the sound until a narrow creek appeared, winding through rocks and roots. Rory dropped to her knees and splashed water onto her face, sighing in relief. Don't drink too fast, Sawyer warned. Your stomach won't like it. She took slow sips, letting the cool water ease her tension. Sawyer drank next, then washed blood from a small cut on his shoulder. Rory stepped closer. That's a deep cut. I've had worse. Her eyes narrowed. Let me see. He hesitated. Then turned slightly so she could examine it. She ripped a strip from her shirt hem. Hold still. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. Her voice softened as she pressed the cloth against the wound. But you helped me survive. This is the least I can do. Something shifted in Sawyer's eyes. A flicker of surprise. Maybe gratitude. Thanks, he said quietly. Rory finished tying the makeshift bandage. There. Not perfect, but better than leaving it open. You're stubborn. So are you. They held each other's gaze a moment too long before both looked away. As they began walking back, a low rustle echoed behind them. Rory spun sharply. The wolf. Again. Standing just inside the trees. Watching her. Sawyer stiffened. He followed us. No, Rory whispered. He followed me. The wolf's golden eyes met hers. Not hostile. Not hungry. Something deeper. And then? He disappeared into the shadows once more. Rory swallowed hard. Sawyer? Yeah? I don't think we're alone on this island. Sawyer exhaled. You don't say. But Rory wasn't afraid this time. She was curious. Because that wolf felt important. Familiar. Connected. As if he knew something she didn't yet understand. The island wasn't just a place they had been stranded. It was a place she was meant to be. Chapter 6: Hunger, Heat, and Denial. By mid-afternoon, the heat was unbearable. Sunlight baked the sand, the forest hummed with insect life, and hunger gnawed at Rory's stomach like a small persistent animal. Sawyer wasn't doing much better. He hid it well, but the tightness in his jaw gave him away. They had salvaged little from the shore: broken wood, torn rope, a few scattered objects washed up from the wreck. Their shelter stood sturdily, but the island had provided no food yet. Sawyer paced near the tree line, scanning the forest the way a searchlight scanned a prison yard. Rory watched him. You're restless. I'm thinking. About what? How to keep us alive. Rory tried to smile. That's a good thing, isn't it? He didn't answer. Instead, he walked into the brush, returning minutes later with a thick stick he'd sharpened with a stone. A makeshift spear. Rory stiffened. You're going to hunt? That's the hope. There are wolves here, Sawyer. One, he corrected. And he's not hunting us. How can you be so sure? Sawyer paused. He didn't look at her. He didn't speak. But his silence said something very specific. He knew something he wasn't telling her. Rory stepped closer. Sawyer, what are you not saying? He looked at her finally. His gaze wasn't harsh, not this time, but wary. Calculated. That wolf, he said quietly, isn't acting like a normal animal. Rory swallowed. I noticed. He's watching you. I noticed that too. Sawyer hesitated. I don't think he intends to hurt you. A strange warmth bloomed in her chest. Why do you think that? Instinct. That's not an answer. He gripped the spear tighter. It's the only one I have. Rory would have pushed further, but a sharp cramp twisted her stomach and she winced, bending slightly. Sawyer was beside her instantly. Are you hurt? No, just hungry. And overwhelmed. He eased back, awkward, uncomfortable with closeness. She didn't blame him. He cleared his throat. Stay here. I'll find something. Water, food, something. And leave me alone with wolves and shadows? Absolutely not. Rory. Sawyer. They stared each other down. Finally, he sighed. Fine. You come with me. But stay close. Wasn't planning to run off. Sure. They trekked deeper into the forest, where sunlight filtered in dappled fragments. Sawyer moved with surprising awareness of the terrain, quiet steps, sharp eyes, constantly tracking. Rory followed carefully until a scent drifted toward her. Earthy. Warm. Familiar. Her skin prickled. "There's something near us," she whispered. Sawyer tensed. "Where?" Rory turned slowly. Her gaze was pulled, not by logic but by instinct, to a cluster of ferns several yards away. The wolf stepped out. Huge. Silent. His golden eyes locked on her. Rory felt her breath stall, her heartbeat slowing like her body recognized something before her mind did. Sawyer lifted the spear. "Don't," Rory said softly. "He's too close. He's not threatening us." Sawyer angled himself between them. Protective. Bristling. "You don't know that." "I do," she whispered. And she truly did. She didn't understand it, but she felt it. The wolf stepped closer, not toward Sawyer, but toward her, head slightly lowered, gaze steady. Curious. Almost gentle. Rory whispered, "He knows me." Sawyer stiffened. "That's impossible." But the wolf took another step. Rory lifted her hand. She didn't think, she simply responded. And the wolf froze. Not like he was afraid. More like he was shocked. Sawyer grabbed her wrist. "Rory." She stared at the wolf. "He's not going to hurt me." Sawyer pulled her back. "And you're not testing that theory." The wolf's golden eyes burned. Not with hunger. Not with aggression. But with something startlingly human. He turned and vanished into the forest. This time, Rory felt something tear inside her as he disappeared. She whispered, "Why does it feel like he's trying to tell me something?" Sawyer didn't answer. He couldn't. Because he was wondering the same thing. Chapter 7, Sawyer's Past, Half-Truths, and Whole Dangers. Night fell quickly, dragging shadows across the island like dark curtains. Their small fire crackled, the flames painting Sawyer's face in gold and crimson. Rory sat beside the heat, hugging her knees, the forest whispering around them. Sawyer sharpened the spear again, jaw tight. "You didn't sleep last night," Rory murmured. "Neither did you." "True. But you seem more on edge." He didn't answer immediately. The silence pressed between them. Finally, he said, "Where I come from, storms don't scare me. The ocean doesn't scare me. But this island." He stared into the forest. "This place feels wrong." Rory hugged herself. "Not wrong. Strange. But not dangerous." "You didn't see the wolf," he snapped. "I did." He shook his head. "No. You looked at him like you recognized him. Like you knew he wasn't a threat." "That's not normal." Rory swallowed. "Nothing about today has been normal." Sawyer stopped sharpening. His voice lowered, almost unwilling. "I've seen wolves before." Rory blinked. "Okay, and?" "And I know their behavior. Their patterns. Their instincts." His grip tightened. "This one isn't acting like an animal." She hesitated. "So what is he?" Sawyer looked at her, something unspoken flickering in his eyes. "There are stories," he said quietly. "Legends. About wolves that aren't just wolves." Rory's skin prickled. "Stories from where?" He looked away. "From my family. Not the kind of stories you tell casually." "Why not?" "Because they're not comforting." Rory whispered, "Are you saying that wolf is part of some legend?" "I'm saying," Sawyer said slowly, "that nothing about this island feels natural." Rory felt fear coil in her stomach, but underneath it was something else. A pull. A familiarity. A strange almost memory in her bones. She looked at the forest. "If he wanted to hurt us, he would have done it already." Sawyer didn't argue. He just stared at her again, longer this time, more intently. "You're different here," he murmured. Rory blinked. What? You're afraid, but not of him. Not of the forest. Not the way a normal person would be. Her heartbeat quickened. I don't know what you mean. You feel drawn to him. Rory didn't respond. Because he was right. Every time she saw the wolf, something inside her stirred, like a forgotten part of her was waking up. Sawyer shook his head. We need to be careful. This isn't just an island with wildlife. Something else is going on. Rory whispered, then we figure it out together. Sawyer looked at her. Really looked. And something softened behind his eyes, something she hadn't seen yet. But before he could reply, a deep howl echoed from the forest. Long. Strong. Unmistakably directed toward them. Rory's heart began to pound. Sawyer stood. Get behind me. Rory didn't move. He's calling. Sawyer turned slowly. Rory, what did you just say? She hadn't realized she said it aloud. I think he's calling me. The howl echoed again, closer. Sawyer cursed, grabbing her arm. We're leaving. Into the shelter. Now. But Rory felt something else, something electric, surging through her veins. Not fear. Recognition. The wolf wasn't calling her out of hunger. He was summoning her. Sawyer dragged her into the shelter, blocking the entrance with driftwood. The forest went silent. Too silent. Rory pressed her hand to her chest, breath uneven. Sawyer whispered, something's coming. Rory whispered back, I know. But deep, deep inside, she felt something strange. Something impossible. A pulse. A warmth. A pull. As if something inside her was answering the call. Chapter 8, The Awakening begins. Rory woke gasping. Night still blanketed the island, but the moon was high, massive and silver, illuminating the shelter through cracks in the branches. Sweat clung to her skin. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. She had dreamed. No. Not dreamed. Something else. She had felt herself running. Paws pounding earth. Wind slicing through fur. The moon pulling her higher, faster, stronger. Rory pressed a trembling hand to her forehead. What is happening to me? Sawyer stirred beside the fire, which had dwindled to embers. He sat up instantly, eyes sharp. Another nightmare? Rory swallowed. Not, exactly. What did you see? Not see. Feel. She hugged herself. It was like I wasn't myself. Sawyer's eyes narrowed. Explain. Rory hesitated. Like I was running. Like I wasn't even human. Sawyer froze. Not blink. Not breathe. Freeze. Rory whispered, Sawyer? Why are you looking at me like that? He exhaled slowly. Because people don't have dreams like that unless. Unless what? He shook his head. Never mind. No, tell me. It's nothing. It's not nothing. Sawyer clenched his jaw, frustration rising. Just forget it. I can't. Rory's voice cracked. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why that wolf keeps watching me. I don't understand why I feel like he knows me. Like he's waiting for me. Like he's connected to me. Sawyer's expression tightened dangerously. Don't say that. Why? Because it scares you? Rory demanded. No, his voice dropped low, rough. Because it changes everything. Rory went still. What do you mean? He didn't answer. Because a sound cut through the forest. A branch snapping. Slow. Intentional. Rory turned toward the entrance of the shelter. Her breath caught. The wolf stood there. His massive form bathed in moonlight, silver illuminating the ridges of muscle beneath thick gray fur. His golden eyes glowed softly, not like an animal's reflection, but like something lit from the inside. Sawyer grabbed the spear. "Stay back," he warned. The wolf didn't look at Sawyer. He only looked at Rory. And when their eyes met, something inside her chest answered. Heat coursed through her veins. Her vision sharpened. Her hearing expanded, she could hear the wolf's breath, the rustle of leaves behind him, even Sawyer's faint exhale as he shifted his stance. The wolf stepped closer. Rory whispered, "Sawyer. I feel strange." "What kind of strange?" "Like, something is waking up." Sawyer cursed under his breath. "Rory, get behind me." But she didn't move. Not because she refused, but because she couldn't. Her body felt rooted. Focused. Pulled forward by something magnetic and ancient. The wolf's gaze softened. Yes, softened. Like he recognized her. Tears pricked her eyes. She whispered, "Why do I feel like I know him?" The wolf lowered his head slowly, deliberately. And Sawyer reacted instantly. He lunged forward, spear aimed outward. Enough. The wolf leapt back with supernatural speed, vanishing into the trees like mist. Rory gasped. "Sawyer. Why would you?" He was getting too close. He wasn't going to hurt me. You don't know that. I do. I feel. She clutched her chest. I feel something. I can't explain it. But he wasn't a threat. Sawyer stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "What are you?" he whispered. Rory felt her stomach drop. "Sawyer." He looked away. No human reacts to a wolf like that. Her breath shook. "So what are you saying? That I'm not human?" "I'm saying," Sawyer said quietly, "that something is changing in you. And you need to tell me everything you've felt. Every sensation. Every dream. Because this could be the beginning of something dangerous." Rory hugged her arms around herself. "I'm scared." Sawyer's voice softened. "I know." But Rory wasn't just scared. She was awakening. And the wolf, the one who kept watching, knew exactly what she was becoming. Even if she didn't. Chapter 9: What Sawyer Fears Most. The next morning was heavy with tension. The forest smelled of dew and earth, but beneath the freshness was something sharp and unsettling, like the air before a storm. Sawyer paced near the shoreline while Rory sat on a sun-warmed rock, staring at the waves. Everything inside her felt too tight, too hot, too restless. Her senses buzzed with unnatural clarity. She could hear the distant call of birds miles away. She could smell the salt on Sawyer's skin even from several feet back. And she could feel the wolf's presence, somewhere in the forest, watching. Sawyer finally approached. "We need to talk." Rory nodded, though dread coiled inside her. "About last night." "About all of it." He sat across from her. "I need you to tell me everything you've felt since we got here." Rory took a shaky breath. "Okay. But you're not going to believe me." "Try me." Her fingers picked nervously at the edge of her shirt. "It started the first night. After the boat flipped. I dreamed I was running. Fast. Through the forest. But it wasn't me. Or, it was me, but not in my body." Sawyer didn't react, no shock, no disbelief. Just tense silence. Rory continued. "And every time the wolf appears, I don't feel fear. I feel drawn to him. Like he belongs to me. Or I belong to him. I don't know." Sawyer's jaw clenched hard. "That's exactly what I was afraid of." "Why? What does it mean?" Sawyer hesitated, longer this time, as if deciding whether to keep lying or finally tell her the truth. "Rory," he said slowly, "there are stories in my family. Stories about people who are born different. People who can sense wolves, not as animals, but as something more. Rory's heart thudded. Like what? Like them, Sawyer said. People who carry wolf instincts in their blood. People who can shift under the right conditions. Rory blinked. Shift? You mean? Yes. But that's just folklore. Sawyer looked her dead in the eyes. Is it? After everything you've felt? Rory's breath hitched. The dreams. The senses. The pull toward the wolf. The way her body responded to the moonlight. No, she whispered. No, that's impossible. I'm human. I've always been human. Maybe you didn't know. Know what? Sawyer exhaled slowly. That you might not be fully human. That something in you could be dormant. Until now. Rory's throat tightened. What would wake it up? Sawyer's next words were soft, resigned. Trauma. Stress. Proximity to another of your kind. Or. He looked into the forest. The presence of a wolf tied to you by fate. Rory's pulse trembled. Sawyer, are you saying that wolf is connected to me? Sawyer looked away. Yes. And I don't like it. Rory frowned. Why? Because if he's connected to you the way I think he is, his voice dropped. Then he's not a normal wolf. And that makes him dangerous. No, Rory whispered. He doesn't feel dangerous. Because he doesn't want you. He wants your attention. Your trust. And that makes him unpredictable. Rory shook her head. You're wrong. Sawyer stood abruptly, pacing again. I've seen what wolves like him are capable of. I know what their other form can do. Other form? Rory echoed. You mean? Sawyer cut her off. You need to stay away from him. But. Rory. His voice cracked like a whip. Whatever you're feeling, whatever connection you think you have, it's not safe. Rory stood as well. You don't understand. I feel like he's trying to warn me. Sawyer froze. Warn you about what? I don't know, she whispered. But I feel it. Deep in my bones. Sawyer's expression darkened. We need to get off this island. Before anything else wakes up in you. Rory swallowed. And what if it's too late for that? Sawyer looked at her with a fear she had never seen in him. Then we're in more danger than I thought. Chapter 10, The Wolf Shows His Hand. They spent the afternoon searching the island's perimeter, desperately hoping to find something, anything, to help them escape. But the coast was endless rock and sand. No boats. No debris. No sign of civilization. By dusk, frustration edged Sawyer's movements. Rory lagged behind, distracted by an inner ache she couldn't explain. Her muscles felt hot, her senses sharper than ever. Finally, she stopped walking. Sawyer turned. Rory? I can't keep pretending this is normal. Sawyer exhaled. I know. No, she said firmly. You don't. Something is happening to me. And that wolf, he knows exactly what. Sawyer shook his head. He is not the answer. But he's the only one who seems to understand what I'm feeling. Sawyer dropped the piece of driftwood he'd been using as a walking stick. His frustration cracked through his composure. Rory, wolves like him ruin everything they touch. Her breath stilled. Why would you say that? Because I've seen it. Sawyer snapped. She flinched. He ran a hand through his hair, voice darkening with old pain. My family, we had history with wolves like him. Not animals, shifters. Ones who lived like their instinct mattered more than anything else. Rory watched him carefully. What happened? Sawyer looked away, jaw tight. Someone I cared about trusted one. And it destroyed everything. His voice carried weight, loss and anger tied together. I won't let that happen again, he said firmly. Before Rory could respond, a rustle echoed behind them. They both spun. The wolf stood at the tree lean again. Except this time. He didn't stay in the shadows. He stepped into the open. Closer. Closer. Until he was only 10 yards away. Rory's breath caught. He followed us. Sawyer lifted an arm, blocking her. Stay back. The wolf ignored Sawyer completely. His golden eyes fixed on Rory, intense, unblinking. Heat surged in her chest again. Sawyer, it's happening. Sawyer cursed under his breath. What's happening? My heartbeat, my senses. I feel like I'm burning. The wolf stepped closer at her words. Sawyer grabbed her wrist. No. Rory, look at me. Stay with me. But Rory couldn't tear her eyes away. The wolf's presence wrapped around her like warm electricity. The ground beneath her feet felt alive. Energy hummed through her bones, like her entire being recognized him. And then, the wolf's muscles shifted. Not threatening. Not aggressive. But with purpose. He bowed his head. As if offering himself. Rory whispered, "Why is he doing that?" Sawyer's voice was tight. "Rory, step back." But she took one step forward. The wolf's golden eyes widened, almost relieved. Sawyer grabbed her arm, panic slicing through his voice. "Rory." "No." In a flash, the wolf lunged forward, not at them, but past them. Fast. Silent. A blur of gray. Rory gasped and spun. Sawyer raised the spear. But the wolf did not attack. He tackled something behind them. Something Rory hadn't seen. Another wolf. Smaller. Darker. Vicious. The two wolves collided with a violent snarl. Rory stumbled back, heart pounding. "Sawyer, there was another one." Sawyer grabbed her shoulders. "Into the trees. Now." "But." "Now, Rory." He shoved her behind a tree just as the wolves clashed again, teeth snapping, fur flying. The dark wolf lunged for the throat. The gray wolf, the one who always watched her, dodged and retaliated with terrifying precision. They weren't fighting for territory. They were fighting for her. Rory's stomach dropped. "Sawyer." His voice was grim. "That wolf wasn't calling you." "Then what was he doing?" Sawyer's eyes were cold with dread. "He was protecting you." Chapter 11, The General Who Looks at Her Like a Threat. The trek through the mountains should have been silent, but Lyra felt every glance Cassian shot her like sparks catching on dry leaves. He walked ahead, broad-shouldered and tense, as if expecting an attack from every direction, or from her. She wasn't sure which. The path narrowed, carved between towering slabs of stone darkened by age and harsh winds. The kingdom's border mountains had always felt hostile, but today the air tasted different. Sharper. Charged. Ever since the assassination attempt, ever since that moment where fire had wrapped around her like an embrace instead of a death sentence, Cassian hadn't been the same. He kept his distance, but his attention never left her. Not truly. Lyra pulled the cloak tighter around her shoulders. It still smelled faintly of him, smoke, pine, steel. She hated that she found the scent grounding. She hated even more that the ground beneath her feet no longer felt the same. Something inside her pulsed, restless, humming like embers beneath skin. Her wolf. Her phoenix wolf. The thing she never asked for. The thing that changed everything. Cassian stopped abruptly ahead of her and lifted a hand. "We rest here." Lyra blinked. "We just rested." "You're slowing down." "No. I'm not." "You're shaking." She hadn't realized she was, not until her knees nearly buckled. A hot rush flickered under her skin, then faded. Not pain. Not illness. Activation. Cashin turned toward her fully, and for the first time since the attack, she saw it, the fear in his eyes. Not of enemies. Of her. Lyra swallowed hard. Say what you're thinking. He didn't. He stepped closer instead, kneeling in front of her, hands braced on his thighs as he studied her face. His expression was carved from stone, but his voice was low, roughened. Controlled. You're burning up. I'm always warm. She tried to laugh. It sounded strained. Perks of being a fireproof girl. No, he said tightly, this is different. His fingers brushed her wrist, not grabbing, not restraining. Checking. Her skin glowed faintly beneath his touch, like heat radiating just under the surface. Cashin's jaw clenched. It's starting. What is? He stood, pacing once in a sharp, frustrated line. You felt it in the fight. I saw it. The glow. The shift trying to break through. Lyra's pulse pounded. No. It was an accident. Just adrenaline. Phoenix wolves don't accidentally awaken. She froze. He never used that term around her. Never acknowledged it fully, even after seeing it with his own eyes. But now he did. Cashin exhaled, the sound heavy. We don't have time for this. For what? Lyra demanded. His stare locked onto hers, intense, almost anguished. For you to become what you are. The mountain swallowed her breath. For a heartbeat she felt weightless, suspended between who she used to be and who she feared she was destined to become. Lyra forced herself forward. Cashin, am I dangerous? He flinched. Barely. But she saw it. You're powerful. That's not what I asked. He didn't answer. And that was answer enough. The silence pressed on her until the crackle beneath her skin surged again. Lyra inhaled sharply, heat blooming at her fingertips. Not fire. Light. Cashin moved instantly, hand closing around her wrist, not harsh, but firm, grounding. Breathe, he said. I am, she snapped, though her chest felt too tight. This isn't normal. No, he said quietly. It isn't. His voice dropped low, leader's tone, protective tone, conflicted tone all tangled together. Lyra, someone is forcing your awakening. Pushing it. Her heart stopped. What do you mean pushing it? He hesitated. Someone knows what you are. And they want me to shift? No, Cashin's expression hardened, lethal. They want to control you. The heat in her skin went cold. That was the moment she realized Act 2 had ended with danger. Act 3 began with purpose. And she was no longer running from what she was. She was running toward answers. Cashin turned away, scanning the mountains with a soldier's focus. Lyra stared at his silhouette, strong, disciplined, haunted, and felt something crack open inside her. Fear, yes. But also fire. Not destructive. Transformative. Cashin, she said softly. He glanced back. We find who's doing this. Together. His eyes darkened. Conflict warred with something else, something far more dangerous. Together, he agreed. But the way he said it. It held a promise. And a warning. Chapter 12, The Nightmare of Wings. Lyra didn't sleep so much as fall into a chasm of heat and memory. At first, the dream was familiar, smoke curling around her, flames licking at her heels. She'd had this nightmare since childhood. But tonight it changed. Tonight she wasn't running. Tonight she remembered. Burning wings arched behind her, massive and radiant. Feathers made of fire beat once, twice, scattering embers like falling stars. A battlefield stretched below, blackened earth, shadows of fallen wolves, and a towering castle cracked by war. And there he stood. A wolf of obsidian fur and golden eyes. Cashin, but not quite. Older. Harder. wearing armor not made for this age. He was bleeding. Dying. Because of her. Her throat tightened. Cashin. The wolf raised his head. His voice echoed in her bones, ancient and heartbreakingly familiar. Lyra, my Luna, don't come back for me. Her wings burned brighter, flames flaring in protest. Live, the wolf choked, staggering, even if I cannot. I won't leave you, she cried, wings beating furiously. But the fire shifted, turning inward. Consuming her. Her heart burst into flame. Then shattered into ash. Lyra screamed. Lyra. She jerked awake. Hands shook her shoulders. Cashin loomed in front of her, hair disheveled, eyes wild, breathing hard like he'd run miles. You were convulsing, he said, voice rough. I couldn't, you weren't waking up. She realized she was gripping the front of his shirt, knuckles white. Her voice trembled. I saw wings. Fire. And you. But not you. His throat worked. A past life? Lyra nodded helplessly, tears she didn't notice slipping down her cheeks. Cashin hesitated only a second before brushing them away with the back of his knuckles, a touch so gentle it nearly destroyed her. Tell me, he said softly. She told him everything, the battlefield, the burning wings, the dying wolf who wore his eyes. Cashin listened with a soldier's stillness, but not a soldier's expression. This was something else. Something unguarded. Something breaking. When she finished, he exhaled shakily. That wolf, that was me. Lyra's stomach twisted. How do you know? He stared at the fire between them, voice barely above a whisper. Because that is how I died. The world tilted. Cashin continued, words pulled from someplace old and aching. I was a general then too. But I failed my Luna. I failed you. Lyra shook her head. But I wasn't. Your soul was. His gaze lifted, intense and unbearably honest. Even if you don't remember. I do. Lyra swallowed hard, wiping her face with trembling fingers. So in that life I died protecting you, Cashin said, voice hollow, and in this one, I. He cut himself off. Lyra finished for him, voice barely a whisper. You kidnapped me. The air between them pulsed. Cashin's jaw clenched. I thought you were a threat. A weapon meant to destroy my kingdom. And now? He didn't look away. And now I fear losing you again. Her heart cracked open. Not because of destiny. Not because of past lives. Because Cashin, the ruthless general, the man who hid from everything soft, said it like a confession he'd cut out of himself. Lyra reached for him before she thought better of it, fingers lightly brushing his forearm. Not a romantic gesture. A human one. A broken one. His breath hitched, barely, but she felt it. Their closeness burned without fire. The bond tugged. Quiet. Inevitable. But she pulled back first. They weren't ready. The world wasn't safe. And the fire inside her was growing stronger by the hour. Chapter 13, When Heat Calls the Shadows. By dawn they were moving again. The mountains grew sharper, the air thinner, and the tension coiling in Lyra's chest tighter with every hour. Her skin felt fever-hot, but not sick, energized, restless, like it was trying to burst into flames. Cashin noticed. He noticed everything. Tell me when it spikes again, he said as they climbed a steep ridge. You'll be the first to know, she muttered. Considering you're staring holes in my back. That's because you could combust at any minute. You say that like it's my fault. It is your fault, he shot back, then paused. Wait. No. It isn't. Not exactly. Lyra stared. Was that you trying to apologize? He growled under his breath. Don't push it. She laughed. But it died instantly when a familiar, sharp heat flared under her ribs. Cashin. He was at her side immediately. Where? Her fingers pressed to her sternum. It feels like something is trying to claw out. Wings, he murmured, frowning. It must be. A whisper cut through the wind. Not a voice. A presence. Lyra stiffened. Someone's here. Cashin reacted instantly, dagger out, stance shifting, senses sharpened. But the presence didn't feel physical. It felt. Inside. Little Phoenix. Lyra froze. Cashin spun toward her. What do you hear? She swallowed hard. A voice. A chill crawled up her spine, cold despite the fire inside her. We've waited for your awakening. Lyra whispered, Who are you? The answer rippled through her mind like a shadowed current. We are the ones who killed your past self. Cashin's entire body snapped to attention. Lyra, what did they say? Her voice cracked. They're the ones who killed me. Before Cashin could respond, something moved in the fog. A flicker. A cloaked figure. 2. 3. Shadows with eyes like dying embers. Cashin shoved her behind him as a blade of blackened metal sliced through the mist. Lyra's heart pounded, heat bursting across her skin like lightning. Cashin growled, Stay behind me. No, she breathed, grabbing his arm. I think they're here for me. Then they'll die for choosing wrong. The shadows lunged. Cashin met them mid-strike, steel clashing against dark metal, the force vibrating through the air. Lyra's breath stuttered as the heat inside her surged like molten wildfire. The shadows hissed. Awaken, Phoenix. Cashin roared, Lyra, run. But she couldn't. Because fire burst beneath her skin. Wings of light unfurled behind her. And the world exploded into flame. Chapter 14, The Fire That Wouldn't Obey. Lyra didn't remember falling. She remembered burning. Heat erupted from her chest in a brutal burst, not outward, not like flames shooting from her hands, but inside, expanding, stretching, cracking her bones with light. Her vision fractured into shards of red and gold. Every heartbeat felt like a hammer blow. Wings made of fire, unfurled from her back. She wasn't shifting. She wasn't transforming. She was exploding. Her scream was swallowed by the roar of flames. Some distant part of her registered Cashin shouting her name, his voice ragged with panic she had never heard before. But she couldn't respond. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't stop. The fire was everywhere, crawling along her arms, spiraling from her skin, igniting the air around her. The mountains glowed orange from the blistering heat. But she wasn't burning. She was becoming. The shadows circled her in a frantic swirl, recoiling from the blaze as if the very sight of her harmed them. Their whispers turned sharp, almost startled. She awakens. Too soon. She is unstable. Lyra gasped, forcing her eyes open through the blinding light. Cashin fought them like a storm unleashed, blades flashing, teeth bared in a snarl, his wolf surging beneath his skin. Every move was lethal. Precision honed by years of violence and discipline. But for the first time, Lyra realized something terrifying. He wasn't fighting like a general. He was fighting like a man terrified of losing someone. Her. Cashin's gaze locked onto hers between strikes, and the raw fear in his eyes hit harder than the fire shredding her insides. Lyra. Focus on me. She tried. Gods, she tried. But the fire surged again, a violent pulse that forced her onto her knees. The wings flared wider, scattering burning feathers that dissolved into sparks as they touched the ground. Cashin abandoned his fight mid-swing, dodging a blow to rush to her side. He grabbed her shoulders, not caring that her skin glowed almost white-hot. Breathe, he commanded. I can't, she choked out, voice distorted by flame. You can. Look at me. His forehead nearly touched hers. You are not alone in this. Do you hear me? Her vision wavered. The shadow figures closed in again. Cashin growled low, a sound meant to kill. The shadows hissed in unison. Finish it before she stabilizes. Lyra's heart lurched. They wanted her unstable. They wanted her dead before she could shift fully. Cashin pushed her behind him, planting himself between her and the dark blades. But Lyra knew, the fire wouldn't wait for her to catch her breath. It was building, cresting, ready to consume everything, including him. She squeezed her eyes shut and reached inward. Not to stop the fire. To steer it. A voice whispered from deep inside, not the shadows, not Cashin. Hers. Wings are not meant to cage you. They are meant to carry you. Lyra inhaled, slow, trembling. And the fire shifted. Not outward. Not wild. Focused. The heat rushed down her arms, gathering in her palms, condensing into a sphere of white gold flame. Cashin saw it and yelled, "Lyra!" The fire detonated. Light burst outward in a ring, brilliant and blinding. The shadows shrieked as the blast hit them, dissolving their forms into smoke and ash. When the fire faded, the mountains fell silent except for Lyra's ragged breathing. She collapsed. Cashin caught her immediately, lowering her gently to the ground. His hands shook as he brushed her hair from her face. "Lyra, look at me," he breathed. "Stay with me." Her eyelids fluttered. She forced them open. "I didn't mean to do that." His expression twisted, fear, relief, anger, and something deeper all at once. "I know," he said softly. "But what you did, you saved us." She swallowed weakly. "Did I burn you?" No, his voice was quiet, almost reverent. "You couldn't. Then, after a beat, you wouldn't." Her heart tightened. She wished she believed that. He exhaled shakily, lifting her against him like she weighed nothing. "You're unstable," he murmured. "And someone wants to keep you that way." Lyra closed her eyes, exhaustion pulling at her. "Don't," she whispered, "don't leave." Cashin stilled. "I won't," he murmured. "Not this time." And he carried her into the shadowed safety of the mountain pass. Chapter 15, The General's Breaking Point. Lyra woke to the scent of pine smoke and steel, Cashin's scent, filling the cold mountain air. Her head rested against something firm, warm. Cashin's lap. He sat propped against a boulder, cloak around both of them, one hand resting on her shoulder as if to reassure himself she was still there. His normally sharp, cold eyes were fixed on the fire. But they were dimmer, shadowed, haunted by the night's events. Lyra stirred softly, and Cashin's head snapped down immediately. "You're awake." His voice was tight. Too tight. She blinked. "How long was I?" "Hours," he said. "Too many." His tone wasn't scolding. It was threaded with fear he was trying, and failing, to mask. Lyra tried to sit up, but pain rippled through her back, like her skin was bruised and raw where the wings had manifested. Cashin steadied her with one hand on her waist, then froze at his own touch, quickly withdrawing. Lyra didn't comment. She felt the tremble in his hand. He'd never looked at her like this before. Not like a threat. Not like a burden. Not like a mystery to unravel. Like someone he almost lost. Lyra swallowed. "Cashin. I didn't mean to explode." His jaw tightened. "Don't joke about that." "I'm not." "You nearly died," he said, voice cracking on the last word before he forced it flat again. "You don't understand what it looked like from the outside." She stared. Cashin never slipped. Never cracked. Never revealed the raw edges under the armor. But now his walls were fractured. "What did it look like?" she asked quietly. He inhaled sharply, looking away as if the memory burned. "You were on fire," he said. "And screaming. Burning alive and glowing at the same time. I thought." His voice cut off. Lyra hesitated, then gently touched his forearm. "Cashin. He didn't pull away this time. He looked at her. Really looked. And Lyra saw it, the breaking point he'd been holding back for far too long. "This cannot happen again," he said, low and fierce. "You will burn yourself out. And I won't be able to stop it." Lyra felt the truth of those words in her bones. "Then teach me." Cashin blinked. "What?" "Teach me to control it," she said, sitting up straighter despite the pain. "Teach me to survive this. Because running isn't working. Hoping isn't working. And you," she held his gaze. "You know more about who I was than anyone alive." He stared at her for a long moment, conflicted, tortured, torn. "Lyra," he murmured. "I failed you once. Then don't fail me now." Silence stretched between them. The fire crackled softly. Wind brushed the mountains. Cashin's heartbeat thudded under the place where her hand rested on his arm. Finally, he exhaled, defeated. Resolved. "I'll train you," he whispered. "But not as a soldier. As..." His voice softened. "As the Luna you once were." Heat bloomed in her chest. Not fire. Something warmer. More dangerous. Cashin wasn't done. "But understand this." His eyes darkened with something like devotion, something like fear. "If teaching you means risking you, I will choose you. Every time. Even above the kingdom." Her breath hitched. She didn't know what to say. Cashin didn't wait for her answer. He stood, lifting her gently to her feet. "Come. There's something you need to see." Chapter 16, The Valley of Fallen Wolves. Cashin led her through the thinning trees until the path opened into a valley carved by time and tragedy. Lyra stopped breathing. Stone markers, hundreds of them, stretched across the land. Weathered. Ancient. Some shaped like wolves mid-howl, others simple cairns covered in moss. The sky was gray here. Silent. "This," Cashin said, his voice hushed, "is where the last phoenix wolf died." Lyra's breath caught. "Where I died." He nodded. They walked slowly between the markers. Lyra felt a pull, gentle but unmistakable, tugging her deeper into the valley. Cashin kept pace beside her, hands clasped behind his back like he was guarding her from the past as much as the present. "Your death saved the kingdom," he murmured. "But it destroyed the royal line. It shattered the courts. It broke me." Lyra turned to him. "Cashin. I don't want your gratitude," he said sharply. "I want you to understand what you stepping into means." Lyra lifted her chin. "Then tell me." He exhaled, looking older than she'd ever seen him. "You were reborn because something is coming. Something the kingdom cannot survive without you." Lyra swallowed. "The shadows?" "No," he said. "Something worse." A chill spidered down her spine. Cashin stepped closer, voice dropping. "And whatever it is, it's already hunting you." Before she could react, the wind shifted. Lyra froze. Something moved between the stones. Not shadows. Wolves. Eyes glowing with unnatural light. Cashin's jaw hardened. "They found us." Lyra felt the heat spark under her skin, not wild, not bursting. "Ready." Cashin stepped in front of her automatically. "No," she said, gripping his arm. "This time. I stand with you." Cashin's eyes flicked to her. Something fierce burned there. "Then stay close," he said. "We hold the line together." And as the glowing-eyed wolves closed in, Lyra felt it. Not fear. Not helplessness. A rising fire that no longer wanted to consume her, but to protect. Chapter 17, The Wolves Who Shouldn't Exist. The glowing-eyed wolves didn't growl. They didn't snarl. They simply stood there, unmoving, watching Lyra as if they recognized her. Cashin's arm moved in front of her instinctively. Don't move, he warned, voice low. Lyra, these wolves are dead. Her breath hitched. Dead? Yes. His eyes never left them. Their bodies were found years ago. Buried. These aren't wolves, they're puppets. Lyra swallowed hard. Controlled by the shadows? Cashin shook his head slowly. No. This feels older. A cold breeze swept through the valley. The stone markers seemed to hum in response, like ancient lungs breathing out a warning. Lyra felt it then, a tug in her chest, soft but steady. The wolves were calling to her. One stepped forward. Its eyes flickered from ghostly blue to molten gold, the same gold that had burned beneath her skin the night she exploded with light. Cashin stiffened. Lyra. I feel like, they're not here to kill us, she whispered. Everything here is here to kill us. No, she shook her head gently. Listen. She took one step forward. Cashin grabbed her wrist. Lyra, don't. She met his eyes. Cashin, trust me. For a long moment, he didn't move. Then, slowly, painfully, he released her. Lyra stepped toward the glowing-eyed wolves. The valley seemed to hold its breath. The first wolf lowered itself, bowing its head. Cashin, she breathed, they're kneeling. He stared, shocked and tense. Why would dead wolves kneel? Lyra knelt too, swallowing her fear, letting her hand hover above its fur. Heat flickered in her fingertips, not burning, just warm. The moment she touched it, light burst from its chest. Lyra gasped, falling back as gold threads of fire spun into the air. The wolf dissolved into a swirl of glowing dust, then into nothing. Cashin rushed to her side instantly. Are you hurt? No, she whispered, staring at her palm. I think I set it free. And then something even stranger happened. The remaining wolves backed away, lowering themselves deeper, not bowing. Submitting. Cashin's grip on his sword faltered. Lyra, what are you? Lyra looked at the swirling gold still fading in the air. I don't know, she whispered. But deep in her chest, something whispered back. You were their queen. Before Lyra could speak, the earth trembled beneath her. Cashin pulled her to her feet instantly. Someone's coming. Someone powerful. The wind howled, carrying a scent Lyra didn't recognize. Ash. Magic. And something ancient. Cashin drew his blade. Stay behind me. But Lyra didn't move. Because out of the fog, a hooded figure stepped into the valley, voice echoing through the cold air. Welcome back, Phoenix Wolf. Chapter 18, The Hooded Man Who Knew Too Much. Cashin reacted instantly. Steel flashed as he lunged, blade aimed straight at the stranger's throat. But the hooded figure didn't move. Didn't flinch. Didn't even blink. Cashin's blade hit empty air. The stranger simply wasn't there anymore. Lyra's heart jumped. Cashin. Cashin stumbled, steadying himself as the figure reappeared behind him, hands calmly tucked into his sleeves. General, the stranger said, voice smooth like cold water. You always attack first. Cashin's jaw tightened. Take one more step toward her and you lose your head. The figure tilted his head. Still so loyal. Even after losing everything. Lyra felt a cold rush down her spine. Who are you? The hooded man turned toward her, and although she could not see his eyes, she felt them. Studying her. Recognizing her. Remembering her. I go by many names, the figure said. But you knew me as Morian. Advisor to the Phoenix Court. Cashin's expression twisted in a way Lyra had never seen, a mix of fury and grief. You're dead, Cashin spat. You died the night she did. Morian laughed quietly. Death is a flexible word. Lyra stepped forward before Cashin could grab her. What do you want from me? Morian's head lowered slightly, almost like a bow. To tell you the truth. Lyra's chest tightened. What truth? The truth, Morian said softly, about your death. Cashin froze. Lyra's heart thudded. You know how I died? Yes, he said. And more importantly. He lifted a hand. The remaining glowing-eyed wolves shuddered, their bodies crumbling to golden dust like the first. I know who killed you. Silence slammed into the valley. Cashin moved instantly, voice sharp. Don't listen to him. But Lyra couldn't breathe. Who? Morian's had turned toward Cashin. Cashin's fingers curled around his sword so tightly his knuckles whitened. Don't you dare, he growled. Morian ignored him. He lifted a hand toward Lyra. And the air pulsed with ancient magic. You died, Morian whispered. Because the man you trusted most betrayed you. The world tilted. Lyra's vision blurred. No, she breathed. No, Cashin would never. I didn't, Cashin hissed. Lyra, look at me, I didn't betray you. But Morian's voice was a cold blade. General Cashin dragged you into a trap. He delivered you to the one who wanted the Phoenix Court destroyed. Lyra shook her head, stepping back, heart splintering. Stop lying. Cashin took a step toward her, hand outstretched. Lyra, listen to me. But Morian spoke louder. He was the last face you saw before you diakakakar. Lyra's heart shattered. And the fire inside her answered. Chapter 19, The Heart Splits Open. The fire roared through Lyra before she could stop it. Not bright. Not golden. Not gentle. Wild. The ground trembled as flames spiraled around her feet. Heat burned along her arms, rising like a storm she couldn't hold back. Cashin froze where he stood, eyes widening as the air between them shimmered. Lyra, he said carefully, voice steady but tight. Breathe. But she couldn't. Because Morian's words kept echoing. The man you trusted most betrayed you, the last face you saw. Cashin dragged you into a trap. Her voice cracked. Did you really betray me? Cashin stepped forward, and the flames flared, forcing him back. He didn't even raise his hands to shield himself. He just stood there, letting the heat scorch the air around him. No, he said, voice breaking. I would never betray you. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. But he said. I don't care what he said. Cashin took another step, teeth clenched against the burning air. Lyra, look at me. She did. His eyes weren't cold. They weren't calculating. They were terrified. Not of her. Of losing her. I made mistakes, Cashin whispered. I failed to protect you. And because of that, you died. But I did not betray you. Lyra's fire faltered, just for a moment. Morian stepped forward. He won't tell you the truth. He can't. Cashin snarled. Stay away from her. Morian ignored him. His voice lowered to a quiet, sharp whisper. Lyra, search your memory. Search deeper. You will find the truth buried beneath the flames. Lyra gasped as something tugged behind her ribs, a memory, blurred and broken, fighting to surface. Cashin's voice snapped through the air. Stop it. He lunged at Morian. But Morian flicked a hand. A force like a tidal wave slammed into Cashin's chest, hurling him across the valley. He hit the ground hard, sliding across the dirt. Lyra screamed, Cashin. He coughed, trying to rise. I'm fine, stay back. Morian turned to Lyra. Your memories are sealed, he said softly. But I can unlock them. Lyra swallowed. At what cost? Morian's head tilted. The truth always costs something. Cashin lifted his head weakly. Lyra, don't let him. Morian silenced him with a look. Then he stretched his hand toward Lyra. Come, Phoenix Wolf, he whispered. Let me show you how you really died. Lyra's fire dimmed to trembling sparks. Her heart thudded painfully. Cashin struggled to stand. Maureen waited. And Lyra took one shaking step forward. Not because she trusted him. Because she needed the truth. Chapter 20, The Fire Beneath Her Skin. Expanded, polished, 500+ words, aligned with all previous acts. The world was still trembling when Lyra stumbled out of the ruined chamber. Smoke curled from the cracked stones behind her, the echo of the explosion still ringing in her bones. Her palms burned, not painfully, but with a familiar, unsettling warmth. The warmth of fire that did not destroy her, only answered her. Cashin was at her side in an instant. "Don't move," he said, voice sharper than steel. His hands hovered near her arms without touching, as if afraid she might crumble or combust. "Lyra, look at me. What happened in there?" She tried to speak, but her breath came in short, ragged bursts. The heat beneath her skin was growing, swirling through her chest, her throat, her fingertips. She pressed her trembling hands against the cold stone wall. "I don't know," she whispered. "I touched the mark on the relic, and something inside me just broke open." Cashin's jaw clenched. Or awakened. Lyra's gaze snapped to him. His eyes, usually controlled, icy, impossible to read, held fear. Not fear of her. Fear for her. "I told you that relic reacts only to royal blood," he said quietly. "Only to the Luna of the Phoenix line." "Cashin, I'm not." The air around her shimmered. Heat pulsed outward in a soft wave, making the torches lining the corridor flicker and bend toward her. Lyra jerked back in panic. "No," she gasped. "No, no, no, this can't be happening again." Cashin grabbed her shoulders gently but firmly. "Listen to me. Breathe. You're not burning. You're controlling it." Her heart hammered. "It doesn't feel like control." She expected him to argue. Instead, he exhaled slowly. "It didn't feel like control for her either," he murmured. "The Luna you once were." Lyra's breath caught. He rarely spoke about the past. Even now, his eyes shifted away, as if looking at memories that cut too deep. "Tell me," she whispered. "Tell me what she was like." He swallowed, and the sound echoed down the corridor. "Brave," he said. "Too brave. She sacrificed herself for a kingdom that didn't deserve her loyalty." A pause. "And she loved me more than I ever understood, until it was too late." Heat rose in Lyra's cheeks, and it wasn't from the fire within. "Cashin." Before she could finish, a sharp, metallic whistle cut through the air. Cashin shoved her down just as an arrow slammed into the wall where her head had been. "Get behind me," he growled. A second arrow came. Then a third. Shadows moved at the end of the corridor, assassins, masked, silent, skilled. Cashin pulled her back, his arm forming a barrier around her. "Lyra, listen carefully," he said. "Your wolf, your fire, whatever is inside you, you're going to need it. I don't know how to use it." His gaze locked with hers, fierce and unyielding. "Then trust it." The assassins rushed forward. Lyra's heartbeat thundered. The heat inside her surged. And then, her skin burst with golden light. Not flames. Wings. Wings of fire, massive, blazing, unfurling behind her in a brilliant arc that lit the entire corridor. Cashin staggered back in awe. "Lyra," he breathed. "You are the Phoenix Wolf." The assassins halted, blinded by the sudden blaze. Lyra lifted her hand instinctively, and a ribbon of living fire spiraled from her fingertips, striking the ground at their feet with a deafening crack that sent them scattering. She hadn't meant to attack. She hadn't meant to do anything. But the fire recognized danger before she did. And protected Cashin. The flames dimmed. Her wings retracted. Lyra collapsed to her knees, trembling. Cashin was there before she hit the ground. "I've got you," he said softly, pulling her into his arms. Her voice shook. What's happening to me? Cashin pressed his forehead to hers. Your destiny, he whispered. And the kingdom, it's going to burn or rise because of you. Chapter 21, The Storm Inside Me. The world felt wrong the moment I opened my eyes. Cold air stung my skin. Damp earth pressed against my palms. My heartbeat drummed fast and uneven, as if it didn't know what body it belonged to. And for a moment, I didn't either. Elias's voice echoed somewhere in my mind, "You're not ready." Maybe he had been right. I pushed myself up, gasping when a sharp wave of heat tore through my spine. My wolf, my real wolf, was too close to the surface. It wasn't like the controlled flickers I'd felt before. This was wild. Raw. Like a storm breaking its chains. Trees blurred around me. Colors too bright. Sounds too sharp. My breath came out in broken bursts as my nails lengthened into claws for a heartbeat, then snapped back. I can't control this, I whispered, my chest heaving. A branch snapped behind me, quiet, but still loud enough to make me whirl around, claws half forming again. My vision dimmed at the edges, pulsing red. Lena. Elias stepped out of the shadows, hands raised slowly as if I were a cornered animal. Not wrong. My throat tightened. Stay back. He didn't listen. Of course he didn't. He stepped closer, eyes focused, calm, but the set of his jaw betrayed the truth. He was worried. More than worried. Terrified for me. You're shifting between forms too quickly, he said softly. Your wolf is trying to awaken completely, but your body isn't used to the power. You need to breathe. Let me help you. The heat surged again, erupting in my chest. My knees buckled. Elias caught me before I hit the ground, his arms warm and steady around me. I'm losing control, I whispered, trembling. What if I hurt someone? What if I hurt you? His grip tightened gently. You won't. You don't know that. I do, he said, voice deepening. Because your wolf knows me. It recognizes me. It won't hurt me. The world tilted again. My vision flickered, my eyes shifting between human and glowing wolf gold. My breath shuddered. My ribs ached from how violently my wolf pushed inside me, demanding freedom, demanding recognition, demanding everything now. I don't want to hurt you, I whispered again, voice cracking. Elias knelt beside me and placed his forehead against mine. His breath was warm. Steady. Grounding. You won't, he murmured. Because I trust you. Even now. Something soft and painful squeezed in my chest. Trust. No one had ever placed something so fragile in my hands. My breathing slowed, just enough to feel the world again. The air. The trees. Elias's heartbeat vibrating faintly against my skin. But even as the storm inside me settled, I knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Because the moment my mind steadied, a new fear crept in. If my wolf was awakening like this, then someone, or something, had triggered it. Elias, I whispered, forcing air into my lungs. Something's wrong. This doesn't feel natural. He nodded once. I know. His eyes darkened, troubled. And I think I know who caused it. A chill slid down my spine, colder than the air. Who? But before he could answer, a distant roar echoed across the forest. Deep. Violent. Unmistakably wolf. Except it didn't sound like any wolf I had ever heard. My stomach dropped. Elias stood, eyes sharpening. We're not alone. And suddenly, the storm inside me didn't feel like my greatest danger anymore. Chapter 22, The Creature in the Dark. The roar rolled across the trees again, louder this time. Closer. Leaves shuddered. Birds burst from the branches in frantic flocks. Even the wind seemed to retreat. Elias's expression darkened. Stay behind me. My voice shook. What was that? Not a rogue, he murmured. Not a normal wolf. Something else. His hand brushed mine, not romantic, but grounding, his thumb steady against my trembling fingers. Another roar, this one sharper, bone deep. The earth trembled. We need to move, Elias whispered. But before we could take a step, a shadow lunged from between the trees. Not a wolf. Not a man. Something twisted in between. Its back was hunched, limbs too long, movements jerky and wrong. Its eyes glowed a sickly green, like poison leaking into light. It wasn't shifting, it was stuck. Trapped between forms. My breath caught. What happened to it? Elias's jaw clenched. Someone experimented on it. Forced a shift. This is what happens when a wolf's mind breaks. The creature snarled, staggering, foam dripping from its jaws. It hurt to look at. Because somewhere beneath the mangled shape, I smelled fear. Elias, I whispered, taking a slow step forward, it's in pain. Lena, don't. But the creature lunged, not at me. At him. Elias shoved me aside as claws slashed through the air. He dodged the first strike, blocked the second. But the creature was fast, too fast for something so broken. Elias grabbed its arm and twisted, trying to subdue it without hurting it, but the creature fought with desperate, feral strength. Run, he shouted. No. I couldn't leave him, not with this thing. Not when my entire body screamed to protect. To help. To fight. Heat erupted again, flooding my limbs like molten lightning. My vision blurred gold. My heartbeat synced with something primal and ancient inside me. My wolf surged forward. Not trying to break free. Trying to defend. And for the first time, I didn't resist. I let the power rise. My hand sparked with golden light, pure energy rippling under my skin. Not a shift. Not fully. But something in between. Something new. The creature lunged again. And I moved. Too fast. Instinct, not thought, guided me. I grabbed the creature's wrist. Light flared beneath my touch, soft, warm, and the creature froze, eyes going wide. Elias stared at me, stunned. Lena, you're wolf. But the creature made a sound. A soft, broken whine. Not angry. Not violent. Just scared. Its body shook violently, like it was trying to shift but couldn't. My chest tightened. It's suffering, I whispered. Someone did this to it. Someone powerful, Elias said. Someone who wanted you shaken. Your awakening triggered at the same time it appeared. This isn't a coincidence. My wolf growled inside me, low and protective. Then they're coming, I whispered. Elias nodded slowly, his eyes lifting to the dark forest beyond. They already have. Chapter 23, a warning written in shadows. We managed to calm the creature, only for it to collapse minutes later, its breathing ragged, its form flickering like a glitching light. Elias knelt beside it, checking its pulse. It's alive. But it won't last long without help. Can we bring it to the pack healers? He hesitated. If we do, the elders will see it. And creatures like this, wolves altered by dark magic, have only one fate under their laws. My stomach twisted. They'd kill it. Elias nodded silently. My fists clenched. Then we can't take it back. We can't let it die. Lena, his voice softened, but the pain in his eyes was real. We might not have a choice. Before I could respond, the creature stirred, and then its hand shot out, claw scraping a single line into the dirt. A symbol. A jagged crescent. Split down the middle. Elias's face went pale. No. No, that's impossible. What does it mean? He swallowed hard. That mark belongs to the Shadowborn. The name alone sent a chill through the trees. I whispered, who are they? Elias finally looked at me, his voice low. They're not rogues. They're not pack wolves. There's something else entirely, a faction that believes wolf magic should be awakened at any cost. His jaw tightened. And if they marked this creature with their sigil, it means they know about you. My heart stuttered. And they're coming, I whispered. Elias met my gaze, eyes dark and unsteady. No. They're already here. The wind died. The forest fell silent. And somewhere past the trees, footsteps echoed. Many. Moving in formation. My wolf rose inside me, bristling. Elias shifted slightly, positioning himself in front of me. Lena, he whispered, when they step out of those trees, you run. I'm not leaving you. This isn't about me. It's about you. They want you. And I won't let them take you. Heat pricked behind my eyes. Not fear. Something deeper. Stronger. I won't run, I said firmly. Not this time. His breath caught, just for a second. Then the shadows broke open. Figures emerging one by one. Cloaked. Masked. Silent. Their leader stepped forward. A woman with silver hair braided over one shoulder. She smiled. So, she said softly, the hybrid has awakened. Elias tensed beside me. I felt my wolf rise. And the world held its breath. Chapter 24, The Silver-Haired Stranger. The silver-haired woman's presence hit me like a shift in gravity. Calm. Cold. Terrifyingly confident. Her eyes landed on me, not Elias, not the creature we'd saved, me. As if she'd been searching for me for a long, long time. Hybrid, she said again, voice low and smooth. You finally woke up. My pulse hammered in my ears. Elias stepped in front of me instantly, blocking her view, his muscles tensed like a drawn bow. You're not touching her. Her smile sharpened, amused. You think you can stop us? Alone? Elias didn't move. I won't need to stop all of you. Just you. For a moment, her gaze flicked to him, evaluating, almost disappointed. Then she looked past him again, right at me. You feel it, don't you? She said softly. The power inside you. The way your wolf doesn't behave like theirs. My breath hitched. She tilted her head. You can sense things they can't. Smell emotions. See through lies. Touch someone's pain. My throat tightened. Because she was right. And she shouldn't have known. Elias growled under his breath. Stay out of her head. But the woman didn't need to read my mind. She saw everything she needed in my eyes. You're not like them, she said. Not even close. I'm nothing like you, I snapped, forcing the words despite the tremble in my hands. But she only smiled, slow, knowing. Your awakening proves otherwise. Footsteps shifted behind her, more shadowborn stepping forward, silent and masked. Too many. My heart pounded faster. Elias sensed it and reached back, brushing his fingers against mine, barely a touch, but grounding. It's okay, he murmured. I'm here. The woman noticed. Her eyes glinted. Ah. He's the one you're attached to, she said. Interesting. Dangerous, but interesting. Elias growled, low and warning. But she lifted a single hand. The creature behind us convulsed. I spun around in horror. Its body jerked violently, as if invisible flames burned through it. Its mouth opened, but no sound came out. No, stop. I cried. The woman's voice softened. It was created to deliver a message. The message has been delivered. And the creature collapsed. My breath froze. Pain surged through my chest so sharply it felt real, physical. Elias grabbed my shoulder, pulling me back as I tried to reach the fallen creature. Lena, don't. But anger, hot, fierce, filled me like fire. How could you do that? I demanded, voice shaking. It trusted me. It trusted your power, she corrected. As it should. You calmed it with your touch, a talent you don't understand yet. My hand shook. I won't let you hurt anyone else. Oh, little hybrid, she whispered. You will. Without meaning to. Before I could respond, the air changed. Wind spiraled outward from her palms, gentle at first, then sharp, slicing through the leaves. She raised her chin. We're not enemies, Lena. She spoke my name like she had owned it for years. We've come to take you home. Elias moved instantly. She's not going anywhere with you. The woman sighed, almost disappointed. Then we do this the hard way. The masked figure stepped forward in unison. Elias pushed me behind him. Run when I say. I'm not leaving you. You won't be leaving me, he whispered. I'll be right behind you. And then? The Shadowborn charged. Chapter 24, The Silver-Haired Stranger. The silver-haired woman's presence hit me like a shift in gravity. Calm. Cold. Terrifyingly confident. Her eyes landed on me, not Elias, not the creature we'd saved, me. As if she'd been searching for me for a long, long time. Hybrid, she said again, voice low and smooth. You finally woke up. My pulse hammered in my ears. Elias stepped in front of me instantly, blocking her view, his muscles tensed like a drawn bow. You're not touching her. Her smile sharpened, amused. You think you can stop us? Alone? Elias didn't move. I won't need to stop all of you. Just you. For a moment, her gaze flicked to him, evaluating, almost disappointed. Then she looked past him again, right at me. You feel it, don't you? She said softly. The power inside you. The way your wolf doesn't behave like theirs. My breath hitched. She tilted her head. You can sense things they can't. Smell emotions. See through lies. Touch someone's pain. My throat tightened. Because she was right. And she shouldn't have known. Elias growled under his breath. Stay out of her head. But the woman didn't need to read my mind. She saw everything she needed in my eyes. You're not like them, she said. Not even close. I'm nothing like you, I snapped, forcing the words despite the tremble in my hands. But she only smiled, slow, knowing. Your awakening proves otherwise. Footsteps shifted behind her, more Shadowborn stepping forward, silent and masked. Too many. My heart pounded faster. Elias sensed it and reached back, brushing his fingers against mine, barely a touch, but grounding. It's okay, he murmured. I'm here. The woman noticed. Her eyes glinted. Ah. He's the one you're attached to, she said. Interesting. Dangerous, but interesting. Elias growled, low and warning. But she lifted a single hand. The creature behind us convulsed. I spun around in horror. Its body jerked violently, as if invisible flames burned through it. Its mouth opened, but no sound came out. No, stop. I cried. The woman's voice softened. It was created to deliver a message. The message has been delivered. And the creature collapsed. My breath froze. Pain surged through my chest so sharply it felt real, physical. Elias grabbed my shoulder, pulling me back as I tried to reach the fallen creature. Lena, don't. But anger, hot, fierce, filled me like fire. How could you do that? I demanded, voice shaking. It trusted me. It trusted your power, she corrected. As it should. You calmed it with your touch, a talent you don't understand yet. My hand shook. I won't let you hurt anyone else. Oh, little hybrid, she whispered. You will. Without meaning to. Before I could respond, the air changed. Wind spiraled outward from her palms, gentle at first, then sharp, slicing through the leaves. She raised her chin. "We're not enemies, Lena." She spoke my name like she had owned it for years. "We've come to take you home." Elias moved instantly. "She's not going anywhere with you." The woman sighed, almost disappointed. "Then we do this the hard way." The masked figures stepped forward in unison. Elias pushed me behind him. "Run when I say." "I'm not leaving you." "You won't be leaving me," he whispered. "I'll be right behind you." And then the Shadowborn charged. Chapter 25, The Unleashing. Everything happened too fast for thought. 5 Shadowborn lunged at once. Elias met them head-on, fast, precise, lethal in his movements without striking to kill. He knocked one back with an elbow, ducked another swing, swept a third off their feet. But there were too many. "Elias!" I shouted. "Stay back." My wolf disagreed. A deep, fierce growl rippled through me, shaking my ribs. My vision blurred gold again, stronger, brighter. One masked figure broke past Elias and sprinted toward me. My heart stopped. But something inside me did not freeze. It ignited. I raised my hands. Light exploded outward. Not soft this time. Not hesitant. A shockwave burst from my palms, golden and blinding. It slammed into the attacker, sending them flying into a tree so hard the bark split. Silence. Everyone, Elias, the Shadowborn, even the silver-haired woman, froze. I stared at my hands, shaking. What was that?" Elias's voice was low. "Your wolf. Your real one." His eyes were wide, not afraid, but stunned. "Odd." The silver-haired woman's smile widened, triumphant. "Yes," she whispered. "Show us what the moon cursed into your blood." "Leave her alone." Elias snarled. But she didn't look at him. She looked only at me. "Do you know why your wolf doesn't appear like theirs?" she asked gently. "Why it flickers. Why it feels like a storm trapped under your skin." I swallowed. "Why?" "Because it was never meant to be bound to a human form." My breath caught. "What?" She stepped closer. Elias lunged in front of me, blocking her path. "Take one more step and I swear." She raised a brow. "How protective. How sweet." Her eyes returned to me. "You're not just a wolf, Lena. You're something older. Something the elders tried to erase." Wind circled her feet. The shadows behind her thickened. "You are the last of the primordial line." My heart slammed against my ribs. Elias stiffened beside me, whispering, "No. That's impossible." "What does that even mean?" I demanded. The woman smiled softly. "It means you were never meant to belong to this pack. Or any pack." She lifted her hand. "And now, your bloodline calls you back." The ground trembled. Elias grabbed my arm. "Lena, don't listen." But it was too late. Something ancient stirred inside me, answering her call. A pull. A recognition. A faint echo of something older than the moon itself. My knees buckled. Elias caught me. "Lena. Stay with me." But the silver-haired woman's voice drifted through the air like silk. "Come with us, hybrid. Before the elders find you first." Chapter 26, The Choice. My head spun. My heart hammered. My wolf clawed inside me, conflicted, restless. Elias held me upright, one hand steady at my back, the other gripping my wrist as if he feared I'd vanish. "Lena, look at me. Look at me." His voice was deep, urgent. I forced my eyes open. His gaze locked onto mine, intense, grounding, terrified in a way he tried to hide. "You don't have to go with them. You don't owe them anything." The silver-haired woman folded her hands calmly. "She owes us the truth of who she is." Elias ignored her. His voice softened, cracking just a little. You belong with me. My heart twisted at the words, but they hurt, too. I didn't know where I belonged. Not anymore. The pull inside me grew stronger. Ancient. Like my blood recognized something beyond the trees, calling. I can hear something, I whispered. Elias's grip tightened. Fight it. The woman shook her head. She cannot fight her nature. She's not yours. Elias snapped. She's not yours either. The word sliced between us. Elias flinched. Barely. But I felt it like a blow. The air thinned. My vision swam. Elias, I whispered weakly. I don't know what's happening to me. His voice broke. I know. And we'll figure it out. But not with them. The silver-haired woman lifted her hand, and the trees behind her parted, revealing a swirling veil of mist. A passage. A doorway to somewhere else. Somewhere my wolf recognized. She comes with us, the woman said quietly. Or she dies when the elders hunt her down. There is no third path. Elias stepped closer, shielding me with his body. There's always a third path, he growled. You cannot protect her from what she is. And you cannot have her. The pull inside me surged again. My head spun. My knees trembled. Elias, I whispered. I can't hold it back. His arms wrapped around me before I collapsed. He held me tight, breath shaking against my ear. I won't let them take you, he whispered. Not today. Not ever. But the silver-haired woman's voice drifted through the air, calm and certain. You cannot stop the awakening. My vision flickered, gold, white, gold. And the world tilted. The chapter closes with me collapsing in Elias's arms as the ancient power inside me finally breaks its chains. Chapter 27, Gold in the Shadows. The golden light blazed from my chest like a sun trapped in skin. I gasped, and my wolf answered, loud, raw, pulsing in sync with my heartbeat. Elias's arms tightened around me, grounding me as the world tilted. Hold on, Lena, he whispered, voice trembling. Whatever happens, hold on to me. The silver-haired woman stepped back, watching with an eerie calm, her eyes reflecting the golden glow. You've awakened, just as we predicted. My mind spun. Images flashed, memories not my own, instincts not mine. A world I'd never seen, wolves larger than anything in my pack, mountains that seemed to breathe, and voices calling my name across centuries. Elias's hand brushed my cheek, grounding me in the now. You're okay, he murmured. Just breathe. You're okay. But I wasn't. I was everything and nothing. Power thrumming through me, a storm that wanted release. The silver-haired woman's voice cut through my chaos. You feel it, don't you? The primordial bond. The bloodline that the elders tried to erase. I blinked, my senses still stretched too far. I feel everything, I whispered. Too much. Her smile was sharp. Good. That's how it's supposed to be. Elias growled low in his throat. Don't let her near you. Not until you understand. She will understand soon enough, the woman interrupted, eyes flicking to the misted doorway behind her. And she will choose. I staggered back, golden light pulsing around me, my wolf roaring inside my chest. It was powerful. Dangerous. Untamed. And yet, thrilling. The silver-haired woman lifted a hand. Step forward, hybrid. Embrace it. Or be consumed. Elias's fingers dug into my arm. No. Don't listen to her. But my wolf answered first. Claws unsheathed, senses flaring. I could hear the heartbeat of every creature in the forest. I could smell Elias's fear, feel the intent of the Shadowborn surrounding us. I could see the threads of life, the echo of power in my own bloodline. I didn't understand it fully, but deep down, I recognized it. Elias, I whispered, voice trembling. I think this is who I am. He pulled me into his chest. Then we'll face it, together. The woman's smile widened. Interesting. Finally, he's bonded to you. That complicates things. Before I could ask, one of the Shadowborn lunged, silvery daggers flashing. Elias shifted in an instant, faster than I could follow, blocking the attack. Stay behind me, he shouted. But my wolf refused. Something inside me demanded action. With a single step forward, I extended my hands. A wave of golden energy surged outward. Shadowborn were thrown back, skidding across the forest floor. Trees splintered. Leaves burned gold under the glow. The silver-haired woman raised her eyebrows, impressed. Finally. You are awakening, the primordial hybrid. I staggered, golden light flickering over me, warmth and power coursing through every nerve. Elias's hands held mine tight, grounding me, reminding me of the human side that anchored the storm. Together, he murmured. We control this, or it controls us. And just like that, everything changed. The Shadowborn regrouped, wary now. The woman's confidence remained, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of caution. Choose, she said, voice cold and commanding. Alone, or with him? I swallowed. The golden light pulsed. Power and love collided in my chest. Everything I had feared, everything I had wanted, came to a choice. And deep down, I knew the truth, my wolf, my power, my destiny, belonged with him. Elias's lips brushed my forehead. Whatever happens, we survive together. I nodded, golden energy surging, ready to face the Shadowborn, the Elders, and the bloodline that had waited centuries for me to awaken. The air crackled. The forest held its breath. And the world would never be the same. Chapter 28, The First Challenge. No sooner had the golden light faded than the woman's voice rang out again. You think awakening makes you safe? It makes you a target. Elias pulled me closer. We can handle this. We've survived worse. Moments later, the ground trembled beneath us. The mist behind her thickened. From it, massive wolves, shadowy, jagged, eyes glowing like coals, emerged. They are here, she said, calm, almost delighted. Your first challenge. My wolf stirred, instinct screaming. Elias gritted his teeth. Stay behind me. But I refused. I could feel the threads of the primordial bloodline, stretching from me to them, calling me to act. I stepped forward. Golden light flared around my body. The forest trembled in response. The largest wolf lunged first, faster than thought, jaws wide. My wolf answered. Power surged from my hands, forming a shield of light. The wolf slammed against it, growling, surprised. Another followed. And another. I realized, each step I took, each heartbeat, strengthened the bond between me and the primal forces. The Shadowborn around us tensed, unsure how to attack someone who could command this energy. Elias's hand found mine. Remember, control it, he whispered. Don't let it take you over. I nodded, feeling the duality, human heart, wolf instincts, golden energy pulsing. The woman's eyes glinted. Not bad. Not bad at all, for a child of the primordial line. And just like that, the forest erupted into chaos. Wolves clashed with shadows. Golden energy met dark power. And in the middle, Elias and I stood together. Because the fight wasn't just for survival. It was for me. And everything I was meant to become. Chapter 29, Echoes of the Past. And just like that, the forest erupted in chaos. Golden light clashed with shadowed wolves. Trees cracked under the impact of their movements. My pulse raced, every heartbeat echoing the roar of my wolf. Elias gritted his teeth, moving with lethal precision, protecting me as I struggled to fully control the primordial power surging within. "You're doing fine," he shouted over the fray. "Control it, don't let it control you." But it was hard. Every instinct, every shred of my soul screamed to act, fierce, untamed, unstoppable. I could smell fear, power, hunger, and regret on every shadow born around us. They weren't just attacking, they were testing me. Suddenly, one wolf leaped from the shadows, larger than the rest, eyes glowing crimson. Its voice, yes, voice, echoed in my mind. "You are mine," it growled. I staggered back, golden light flaring around me. Elias's hand found mine. "Stay with me. Don't let it worm its way into you." I nodded, though fear gripped my chest. Moments later, the wolf circled me, and I realized this wasn't just a test of strength. It was a test of trust, of control, of heart. And then, a memory slammed into me. A boy in the ruins of the old pack, his eyes golden like mine. A wolf, wounded, reaching out. I had forgotten him, buried the memory deep, but now it came roaring back. The crimson-eyed wolf lunged. My golden energy surged, shielding us both. Its growl twisted into something almost human, almost familiar. Elias's jaw tightened. "Lena, recognize it. It's connected to your bloodline." The forest fell into a tense silence as our powers collided. My wolf roared, instinct screaming that we could not fail. I reached into the memory, into the bond, and with every heartbeat, every shred of instinct, I whispered, "I know you. I remember, we are connected." And the wolf paused. Red eyes flickered gold. A moment passed, a breath, a heartbeat, a lifetime. It stepped back, bowing its massive head, and vanished into the shadows. I staggered, golden light dimming but still humming through my veins. Elias gripped me tight. "You did it, you controlled it." The silver-haired woman watched, smiling faintly, her voice soft but sharp. "Finally, the primordial awakens fully. But the trials are far from over." Even so, I felt a strange relief. For a brief moment, I had harnessed the power that had terrified me, embraced it without losing myself. And yet, deep down, I knew the real challenge was just beginning. Chapter 30, Fractured Loyalties. Soon after, the air shifted. Not with magic, but with betrayal. Members of Elias's pack, once loyal, once steadfast, emerged from the treeline. Their eyes flickered between us and the silver-haired woman, uncertainty and fear etched on their faces. "You, what have you done?" one growled. "She's too powerful, she could destroy everything." Elias stepped forward, chest heaving. "She saved us. And she controls it. That's more than any of you could say." Yet murmurs spread. "Fear is contagious, and doubt is deadly." "What's worse," whispered another, "if she loses control, she'll wipe out the pack. Maybe even him." I felt their stares, the suspicion, the tension slicing through the forest like a blade. And deep down, I understood. They had no idea what I was, what Elias was, or what the primordial bloodline meant. I swallowed, golden energy still simmering. "I'm not here to destroy anyone. I am here to protect." But protection is often misunderstood. And loyalty can fracture in the blink of an eye. The silver-haired woman tilted her head. "Pack unity, fragile as glass. Break it now, and you'll have allies scattered like leaves in the wind." Elias's jaw tightened. "We face them together. You and me. Everyone else can choose." And just like that, the forest held its breath. The pack members hesitated, some taking steps back, others glaring with undisguised hostility. My heart raced. Not just from fear, but from the tension between trust and survival, love and power, human and wolf. That night, as we settled near the fire, whispers carried through the trees. Questions they didn't ask aloud, truths they didn't share, shadows of past grudges and hidden alliances, they swirled around us. I realized this, the awakening was not just about power. It was about choice. And choice could either unite us, or shatter everything Elias and I had fought for. Even so, as his hand found mine and squeezed, warmth grounding me, I knew one thing: together, we could face anything. But what followed? I did not yet understand. The echoes of the past were stirring. And the future was waiting. Chapter 31: The Gathering Storm. And just like that, the wind shifted. The forest seemed alive, holding its breath, every leaf and branch quivering with anticipation. Elias's hand tightened around mine. It's here, the final reckoning. I could feel it too, the pulse of power in the air, the primordial energy surging, threatening to break free. The pack members, once fractured by fear and suspicion, had gathered reluctantly, eyes flicking nervously between us and the shadows that stretched toward the horizon. Moments later, a deep rumble shook the ground. Shadows moved faster, darker, almost alive, carrying a scent of malice that made my stomach twist. It was them, the rogue shifters who had been orchestrating chaos from the beginning. Their leader stepped forward, a towering wolf, eyes the color of molten silver, radiating danger. "You think you can control the primordial?" it snarled. "You think you can save your precious pack?" I swallowed, feeling every fiber of my being tense. Truth be told, I didn't know if I could. And yet, I refused to let fear dictate my actions. Elias moved in front of me. "We fight together." No hesitation. I nodded. Golden light began to swirl around me, resonating with the energy of every wolf present. The forest lit up with sparks of power, illuminating our determination, illuminating hope. And then the first attack came. Shadows lunged, claws extended, teeth bared. The pack responded immediately. Growls, snarls, and the clash of fur and steel echoed through the trees. I leapt, instinct guiding me, feeling my wolf surge within. Every strike, every dodge, every heartbeat synchronized with Elias, as if our bond alone could predict the enemy's moves. But even as we fought, I couldn't shake the questions that rattled my mind. Could we survive this? Could love truly endure amid such chaos? Could I master the full extent of the primordial before it consumed me, or worse, destroyed everything I loved? And then, a shadow lunged straight for Elias. I didn't think. I acted. My body moved on instinct. Golden light flared as I intercepted, sending the rogue flying back with a force that made the earth tremble. Elias's voice was low, almost a growl. "You're incredible, but we have to end this now." I nodded, feeling fire bloom beneath my skin. Something inside me shifted. I knew the time had come. Chapter 32: Ascension. From there, chaos became clarity. The rogue shifters had underestimated the unity, the bond, and the sheer force of love and loyalty coursing through our pack. Each wolf fought with precision, their energy harmonizing with mine, amplifying the primordial power in ways I hadn't imagined. At the same time, the silver-haired woman appeared at the forest edge, her eyes glowing like molten stars. "You've awakened fully," she said, voice carrying across the battlefield. "Now, embrace it." And just like that, I felt the full power of the primordial surge through me. Golden energy wrapped around every nerve, every muscle, every heartbeat. I could feel Elias, my pack, the forest, even the rogue wolf's intentions. Everything. Without warning, I stepped forward, the light emanating from me blinding, warming, consuming, but controlled. Every rogue shifter in my path faltered. Fear, awe, and a deep, ancient respect flickered in their eyes. I could hear their minds bending under the realization that they were facing not just a shifter, but the primordial itself. Elias came to my side, growl low in his throat. "Together?" I smiled, golden eyes locking with his. "Always." As our energies collided, intertwined, something miraculous happened. The rogue leader roared, an unearthly sound, but crumbled under the combined force of our bond. The remaining rogues scattered, shadows dissipating like mist under sunlight. The forest held its breath, then exhaled. Silence. Peace. Balance. I sank to my knees, golden light fading, leaving warmth in its place. Elias knelt beside me, hands cradling my face. You did it. We did it, he whispered. And in that moment, everything changed. Not only had we won, but the bond between us had deepened, stronger than any pack, any power, any obstacle. And just like that, the primordial rested within me, not a curse, not a weapon, but a gift. A gift of protection, love, and strength. Chapter 33, New Dawn. Come morning, the forest was calm, bathed in golden light. The pack had reunited, trust restored, and unity stronger than ever. The rogue threat was gone, and with it, the shadow that had haunted us. I looked at Elias, his golden eyes shining with pride and love. Our pack, our life, it's finally ours, he said softly. Moments later, the silver-haired woman approached, her smile serene. You have ascended, she said. The primordial is at peace. The future belongs to you. I breathed deeply, feeling the warmth of sunlight on my face, the rustle of leaves, the heartbeat of the forest, and his heartbeat beside mine. It was more than victory. It was home. And just like that, I knew we could face anything. The future, uncertain but ours. The bond unbreakable. The love, eternal. Because of that, as Elias kissed me under the rising sun, golden light shimmering in his eyes, I realized this: every trial, every danger, every heartbreak had led us here. Together. Stronger. Free. Our story was not just about survival, it was about ascension. And nothing could ever take that away.